The top story that we are following here on India Today coming in from the United States of America. A big blow to Donald Trump's tariff war. US court rules Donald Trump's tariff war is illegal. US court says most of Trump's tariffs are illegal. Donald Trump slams the ruling, promises to fight back. All the tariffs remain in place. This is a statement coming in from the US President Donald Trump. Donald Trump says tariff removal will destroy America. US Attorney General to appeal against the ruling. This is a big blow coming in to the United States of America. My colleague Rohit Sharma is now joining me from Washington, D.C. Rohit, this is actually a big blow coming into Donald Trump. The court is now saying that most of these tariffs are illegal. But Donald Trump also coming out with a statement and saying that he will fight it out.
Right. I mean, this was contested way back in May. There was one, junior court that had actually come out and rejected the idea of these tariffs. And just to remind our viewers, this is the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which is also known as IEEPA. And under that act, the bottom line was, does the president have authority to unilaterally put economic sanctions, the tariffs on different countries? And they made it pretty clear with the 7-4 ruling that he does not have that power. I mean, and if I were to quote what they said, is essentially saying that it means like the President of the United States does not have that power and there is no clear congressional authorization, basically saying that the only U.S. Congress can make this happen, meaning that if tariffs have to be imposed on foreign countries, it has to go through the U.S. Congress, meaning House of Representatives and the Senate, and not unilaterally through executive action, which is what Donald Trump has done. Another important thing here is, Aishwarya, is the written argument that was submitted in the court today by Secretary Lustig and Besson, same people, who've been characterizing India with choices of words, saying that if the court actually overturns this decision, it would become an embarrassment for the U.S. and Secretary Besson saying that it could lead to a catastrophic impact where people will then want to take their money back or whatever money they've spent in tariffs. So essentially, this is a win for people opposing these tariffs. Also, the fact that they've left the decision to be determined by the higher court means they've given until the October for Donald Trump to go back and fight this in Supreme Court, which is what Donald Trump has put out on Truth Social, saying that the tariffs are in effect and he will fight this to Supreme Court. So a lot that can happen between now and October. But as of today, judges at the Federal Circuit Court think that President Trump exceeded his authority in unilaterally imposing this tariff, and he does not have power to do that unless he can go to Congress and get it ratified to the Congress to put those tariffs.
Rohit, we are seeing multiple statements coming in from Donald Trump. First and foremost, he says that all the tariffs remain in place. Tariff removal will destroy America. Big statement coming in. In fact, the U.S. Attorney General all set to appeal against the ruling.
And they will. When he actually, the Liberation Day is what he called it in April, when he unveiled these tariffs, there were some concerns that was legal or not doing this to an executive order. Look, a president can ask Congress to do that, and they have the authority to do it. But the IEEPA, the act that he used, the law that he used, the appeals court said that he does not have the authority to do that. And yes, it would be a national embarrassment. It could be really bad for America because they've been collecting all these tariffs. They've been trying to, he quoted about this $4 trillion over the next 10 years of the tariff stay. So he will fight this tooth and nail in the Supreme Court, and that is what he expects, that the Supreme Court, and he's put 4 judges on the Supreme Court, will side with him. But as of today, it's a huge setback for President Trump. If for some reason, and a lot of people are debating this right now, but if for some reason Supreme Court sides with the federal court, then it would be a major embarrassment, a U-turn, and a lot of trading partners of America would want to then see what they want to do with those trade deals that they signed with America.
Rohit, you've been covering Washington. You understand the White House. Do you believe that Donald Trump will let this go? Statements are coming in. He will fight it. Do you think there will be a big war between the administration and the court?
Well, yes, his lawyers will fight this in Supreme Court, and as I said, Ashwarya, there are 4 judges on that bench that were installed. I shouldn't say the word installed, but nominated and approved by Senate. So he believes that the Supreme Court will side on him, but we've also seen that Supreme Court of the United States can sometimes give a split verdict. So we'll have to wait and watch, how he fights it in the Supreme Court. But this is definitely something a lot of people were banking on, including small businesses who've been struggling in the U.S. with this tariff, who really wanted this process of tariff implementation to go through the Congress, where their voices could be heard, their concerns could be heard, and then a policy could have been formulated. But Donald Trump, and we've seen this, the stroke of a pen has decided 15%, 25%, he's done whatever, he wanted to do. And I think the court is striking that down, that he does not have authority to the IEEPA to do this using an executive order. So a huge setback, a big embarrassment. The Supreme Court sides with the Federal Circuit Court, and honestly, a catastrophic impact on U.S. economy if this were to be upheld by the Supreme Court of the U.S. come October, or they could issue an order to review this in time, leave the tariffs intact, and possibly come back and look at this next summer. So we'll have to wait on what President Trump does. Does he expect Supreme Court to rule on this, requesting an emergency ruling?
Right.
We'll have to wait and watch how he plays that out. But it's a big, big setback for President Donald Trump.
Thank you, Rohit, giving us all those details. My colleague also pointing out that this definitely is a big setback for US President Donald Trump.